Yo, what up, guys? This is the voice of Mr. Solution. And on today's episode, we'll be looking at how to take partial profits. All right. So before my screen here is dot perpetuals. All right. So we're just going to do a little analysis on that before we get to what we want to do today. Okay. So dot perpetuals, let me just draw just a little analysis on it. Okay. All right. You can see here that it has actually broken out of this channel. It has broken out of this channel. Okay, initially what we had this channel, which it has actually broken out of. So that being the case, we're going to be looking at the various targets where it might get to as it has broken out of that channel. Okay, firstly, we have these targets. Let me change this color to pink. Okay, we have that. This is another target. This is target 2. And then finally, we have this as our target 3. So what it means is that we have 3 targets here, 1, 2, and 3. And then it has actually crushed this very first target. Okay. So the next thing now is how to get an entry. So assuming it hadn't broken out, let's say we met this when it was at this point, we met it when it was still here. Let's say we met it when it hadn't broken out of this channel, when the price was still here. Assuming we met it, let me change this color to green. Green will be better. All right. So assuming we met it at 29.217 and 29.217 happens to be our entry. And then we are looking at our target as 1, 2, 3. And then we should be having our stop loss. Let's say we have our stop loss somewhere around there. We have our stop loss somewhere around there at this swing low. We have our stop loss there. Let me change this to red. Okay, we have our stop loss here. This place happens to be our stop loss. Remember, I didn't calculate this. I'm just hypothetically stating. Okay, so our entry, our targets, and then our stop loss. Now, let's say we got this entry at 29.217. Okay, so we are buying this. It's a long opportunity. Okay, we are buying this at 29.217. We have an entry here, 29.217. And then we're entering this trade with $5,000. Okay, we're entering the trade with $5,000. Okay, so by calculation, what it means is that $5,000 should be giving us 171.1 pieces of what? Of dots. Okay, by calculation, what it means is that $5,000 should be giving us 171.1 pieces of dots. Okay, so having done that, let's say we were able to buy. Okay, so what it means that we bought 29 points, we bought 171.1 pieces of dots at 29.217. Okay, so the question now is, how do we take partial profit? And then remember, we have various targets. We have this target 1, 2, 29.686, and we have this target 2, 30.705, and we have this target 3, 31.561. And then we do not want to take all our profits here. We just want to split everything across so that we can take profit as it gets to these various target levels. Okay, that being the case, we remember we've already bought this. So for us to close the trade, for us to lock in our profit, we need to do the opposite of what we did, which is what we are going to sell. Okay, we are going to sell. So let's say we do not want to close all our position at this first target of 29.686. That's 29.686. We do not want to close all our trades at this 29.686. We might decide to come here. Okay, remember that what we had initially was 171.1. We might decide to, let's say we want to close like 70%, 70 units of this our dot. Just want to close 70 units at the first target. Okay, this is the first target, 29.686. So we decide to close 70 units of this dot at this first target. And then to do that, just put 70, put the quantity you want to close it at, put the price you want to close it at, and remember you're using limit order. Okay, you use limit order. Then don't forget, you have to close on reduce only. You have to click on this reduce only, toggle reduce only, so that if it eventually gets to this very price, it's going to close if you do not toggle this reduce only, what's going to happen is that if he gets to this place, it's going to open another short position for you, and which is wrong. Okay, it will open a short position for you, which is very wrong. So make sure you toggle reduce only. Okay, so that if you get say, it will automatically close it for you. Okay, so go right ahead and click on sell. So you want to get say it will close for you, and then you'll be left with how many? You'll be left with remember we had 171.1, so you'll be left with 101.1 units of this dot. Okay, now you want to close another. This is how you take your partial profit. So you've taken partial profit at this very first target of 29.686, and then the next target is 30.705. Okay, you could decide to close another amount at 30 points. What we have 30.705, close some at 30.705. Okay, and what quantity? Maybe let's say want to close like remember you have 101.1 units remaining. Let's say just want to close 51. Okay, want to close 51 at this very level. The same procedure, the same thing is also involved. Make sure you toggle this reduce only, and then go right ahead and say, I'm not logged in. That's why it's not showing this. I'm not logged into the account. Okay, I'm not logged into my account. That's why it's showing login to trade. Okay, so once you toggle this reduce only, go right ahead. At this very place, you will be seeing sell. So go right ahead and click on sell. Because once it eventually gets to this 30.705, it's going to sell 51 units for you. It's going to sell 51 units for you. So then you'll be left with how many units? You'll be left with 50.1 units. Okay, so maybe you now decide to sell the remaining one at this 31.561. The same thing happens. Go here, put your selling the price you want to sell at, which is 31.561. You want to sell the remaining quantity at 31.561. Okay, that's 50. You want to sell 50.01 units. That's the remaining unit. You want to sell it at this price. Also, remember to toggle your reduce only. Go right ahead and click on sell. So this is actually how you take partial profit. So what this thing does is that it helps you to cut your losses. It helps you to mitigate against losses. And now, let's say in the case of, because the question arises, okay, if you decide to be taking your partial profit, how then do you set your stop loss? It's very simple. Remember that what we had in the beginning was 171 units. We had 171 units of this dot. So for you to set your stop loss on this other type, click on it. Okay, select your stop markets. Click on these other types. Click on the drop down. Okay, click on this drop down. Okay, select your stop markets. This is it. Select your stop markets, and then go right ahead and put what you want your stop loss. Let's say we have 28.504 at our stop loss. Go right ahead and click on what? Click on 28.504. 28. We have 28.504 as our stop loss. Then at this amount section, we're gonna put all the amounts of dots you bought, which was 171.1 units. Okay. So once you do that, remember to click on reduce only. Then go right ahead and click on sell. So eventually you enter this trade, and instead of going up, it decided to start coming down. Okay, it decides to come down. Once it gets to this very place, it's going to cut your losses. Once it gets to this 8.504, it will cut your losses and take you out of the market. Okay, another way of taking partial profit is that if you don't want to use the limit order, if you decide to use your take profit, you decide to use take profit, is also the same thing. Does the same. Those limit order and take profit, they do the same function. But always make sure that at every point you are clicking on this reduce only. Okay, that's what makes the difference. If you do not click on this reduce only, once you get to that place, it will open another position for you. All right, guys. So this is just the simplest way of how to take partial profit. And what, like I said, what this thing does for you is that it helps you to, control your losses and makes you to maximize all the various targets given. All right. So even if the coin is to get to all the various targets, you will not have to lose all. Okay, but then you need to be very, very careful, because most of the time, maybe if you get to target 1 or target 2 and then decides to start going down, what happens is that if it gets to this target 2, and then instead of going to target 3, it starts going down. Worst case scenario, once it gets to this your stop loss, it's gonna close for you, and then it will just cut your losses for you. All right, so guys, all this has been educative enough. If you love my content, kindly hit the subscribe button. You could share the video to your friends, and then I will see you in the next episode.